Hi, welcome back. So, challenges in social interaction is one of the cardinal signs when it comes to our children on the spectrum. So, how do we intentionally teach both our verbal and non-verbal children to interact socially? But why is this important? It's because with the era of artificial intelligence, robotics, and machine learning, really what you want is our children to learn to do the things that machines will not be able to do. And of course, as much as we train our children to interact socially, our plea to the typical world is that they too have to learn how our children on the spectrum interact in their social context, because of course it cannot be typical. So yes, social skills. What exactly are social skills? Social skills are abilities that we use to communicate and interact with other human beings in a social context. And so when it comes to that, what is the first thing that we need to do? Of course, if you have a non-verbal child, or even if you have a verbal child who has challenges in their communication, the first thing you need to do is adopt an alternative form of communication with your child. So of course, in the era of technology, we have so many applications. For example, the touch chat that you can actually use, where the application has different types of emotions or faces of activities that if a child needs something or wants something or feels something, they can easily touch. Okay, that's the technological. But you see, you can also use visual cards as you plan to invest in the technology of it. Yeah, so visual cards simply means you have visual cards of the common things that happen at home or in a school setting or in a home, anywhere you go, or even just the normal social interactions. And whenever a child wants something, or whenever a child needs something or feels something, they are able to actually show you. Those are the visual cards. Okay. And then the third thing, or the communication that you may want to consider, is the use of sign language. Okay. At home, especially if you have a non-verbal child, you must adopt some form of a sign language. Okay. Something that if a child does, either by nodding, by waving, by being happy, anything that you are going to actually be able to pick the communication that your child is doing. Okay, so for those who are new here, I have a course that I created. You can check it on the description box. But in this course, I've actually it's a beginner course for all parents of children on the spectrum, and we cover a lot of things. And one of the things is the communication aspect of things, on how we are going to really communicate with your child, whether they are speaking or non-speaking. The second aspect of teaching our children social skills is social stories. So what are social stories? Social stories are simply the stories that we create to help them prepare for different scenarios in their social interactions. So for example, when they meet their friend, either you're meeting a person for the first time, what are you expected to do? So these are things that you start telling them beforehand. Their stories you tell them. So you practice in the house. Hi, my name is Neema. What's your name? Okay, so that's for a verbal child. You're trying to communicate to them. So if your child is non-speaking and you want to create social stories, so if I say hi, for example, I'm meeting them and they're non-verbal, I say, hi, my name is Neema, what's your name? They should be able to either show me a flashcard on who their name is, or they should be able to use a sign language, or they should be able to use some application on their phone for them to be able to introduce me with their name, to me who their name is. So still on social stories, there are things like emotional, like how are they feeling? Are they happy? Are they excited? So for example, we are having a conversation and yes, they are non-speaking and they are happy, they are sad, they're feeling different. They should be able also to show me how they are feeling, again, using either visual cards or using applications either on a phone or on a tablet. The third thing that we need to also teach our children is the use of nonverbal language, because as you remember, for our children on the spectrum, they just don't get the social cues. Okay, so when it comes to nonverbal, for example, facial expression, you can actually use a mirror to say happy. You smile on the mirror so that they're able to see you when you're happy, when you're sad, of course, when you're crying, when you need a hug. Okay, so the more you practice, whenever they feel overwhelmed, whenever they feel something and they want you to respond in a certain way, that's exactly how they are going also to behave. So for example, if you're dealing with a younger child, things like waving, bye-bye, things like nodding simply means yes. Okay, this means no. Okay, if I want something, can they point? And also pointing is also one of the challenges that our children on the spectrum have. You should be able to form a way of a language of nonverbal communication for your child, so that if they're in a place and someone does this, of course they'll be able to say no. or this means yes. So even as you create these non-verbal communication, make sure they are universal. There are things that most people do, most people use. There are things that, you go anywhere and somebody behaves in that certain way, everybody's able to pick what exactly they mean. The other aspect of social skills is, of course, play. Now, play has major advantages for not only our children on the spectrum, but for any child in their early years, okay? And these days, even adults play, okay? So the key thing is play has to advance based on the child's development, okay? So in play, of course, you learn the social interactions. In play, you learn language. It's where most kids will pick up vocabulary from other children or their peers. Play is where there's something called joint attention, which is also one of the challenges of our children on the spectrum, okay? And how do you build joint attention? For example, you just do activities together, shared activities. Things like, for example, you're rolling a ball, to and fro. You see, we all have to focus on this particular ball, so that is joint attention. So if we are doing an activity together, it teaches them, if we are doing something together, we have to actually all focus on this particular thing that we're doing, okay? Turn taking, again, the same, the rolling of the ball, or even the stacking of for example, stacking of blocks together. I stack blue, you stack red. I stack yellow, you stack orange. Emotional regulation. I am not happy, maybe I feel like you cheated. How do I handle that? Okay, so if we are playing and then all of a sudden my face is sad, you should be able to notice my face is sad, and I should be able to communicate to you what I'm feeling. Okay, and that's how we really teach communication for our children. The fifth thing is routine. Now, we do know that our children thrive in routines because for them, routines create predictability and consistency and, of course, calmness. Okay, so routines means our children, when they wake up in the morning, they should be able to know what to expect, when to expect. Okay, and if you're planning to go somewhere, you should have prepared them before. Okay, so when you're creating routines, always remember to incorporate opportunities where they'll be able to practice their social skills. For example, you are sharing a meal in the morning. They should be able to say, good morning, how was your night, for instance? Or should be able to ask them, good morning, how was your night? Did you sleep well? Okay, if they are verbal, they should be able to, non-verbal, they should be able to do this. Of course, if they are verbal, they'll be able to tell you how they slept. Okay, if for example, now the nodding will mean yes, happy will mean yes, the night was good, or even thumbs up will mean the night was very good, or using visual cards, or even using the applications that I've said earlier. So the whole idea is, in these routines, always emphasize on the social interactions, the social skills. Okay, so things that you finish your breakfast, saying thank you when you think something is not good, like maybe you're eating food and you don't think the food is so yummy, you should be able to say, the things that we normally discuss at the dinner table, just the normal general things, those are the same things that you should be able to teach your child, and they should be able to express to you, either using the touch apps, or using their visual cards, or using their facial expressions, or using their sign language, based on really what you've been nurturing this child to. Now, the sixth thing, which I think has one of the most huge impact, is the peer interaction. Children will always learn from their peers more than from adults. Okay, so always encourage peer interaction. Now, I know as a parent of a child on the spectrum, sometimes you feel maybe the need to hide or separate your child from the other children who are typical. But please, when you're doing that, you're actually denying them the opportunity to learn from the typical world. Okay, so if you have siblings, the better. Or if you have family, like an extended family where they have other children who are peers, please, anytime you have an opportunity, allow your child to interact with these children. Okay, if that is not practical for you, group activities. So enroll them maybe in an art club, music club, physical play, anything. As you see, the longer you stay with your child, the longer you understand your child. You'll also be able to pick the things that they interest this child. Okay, so whenever you pick, allow them to don't be stigmatized. Do not stigmatize your child simply because you're scared of what the people will think or what people will say. Please. Okay, the best way to normalize autism in a typical world is actually to allow everyone to experience autism. Okay, Yes, of course, the first days people will be so shocked and maybe they will look at him in a way. But the key thing is, you as a parent, you as a caregiver really need to be empowered so that when that happens, you'll be able to actually stand and explain to people, actually, my child is on the spectrum and I'm here so just for them to be able to experience this experience just like any other child. Okay. And of course, it's usually nice, for example, if you're doing art or play or music, it's nice like for you to tell them beforehand that I'm bringing a child on the spectrum so that they are not surprised, they are not shocked. Okay, of course, because our children sometimes behave in a way that people don't consider to be appropriate, quote unquote. Even when that happens, they should not be surprised, and just build confidence inside of you. And because if you're confident about your child, trust me, your child is okay. Then the seventh thing, of course, is emotional regulation. Now, we do know our children also process their senses differently. And now, because they process their senses differently, there are times they feel overwhelmed. For example, they're in a music class and there's piano or drums and all that. So what happens when they're overwhelmed? Things like fidget toys, they should always carry their fidget toys. They should always carry their stress balls. They should always carry, if possible, have a safety corner. If possible, be there with them. Of course, it depends with the age of a child, or at least someone familiar should be there with them so that whenever they are overwhelmed, they should be able to know, if I feel this way, I need to go, cool down somewhere. So teaching the different emotional regulations, even deep breathing. I think I said this in my previous video. Actively deep breathing just to calm themselves is also one of the way of regulating whenever they feel that their senses are actually heightened. And of course, reinforce positive behaviors. Yeah, anytime they've been able to accomplish, maybe they've done something, they've had to do something in their social skills. For example, somebody came and they were able to say hi. Even if they're not speaking, they're going to shook somebody's hand and they were able to introduce themselves. Please applaud them. That's how you really inculcate for them to keep on pushing their boundaries and look for opportunities where they can actually be able to practice social skills. Okay, you see, the earlier you start this, the better, because the ninth thing is patience and consistency. This is something you do every single day. Okay, social skills are skills we learn every single day based on circumstances we find themselves in. You as a parent need to be very, very intentional to teach them. Okay, and the key thing is repeat. So anytime you've decided you're teaching your child a certain skill, you have to really repeat, and of course you have to incorporate all these opportunities into their day-to-day structure. Those are the 9 things that I think we as parents, as we prepare our children to live in a world where there's a lot of technology, there's a lot of machines and all robotics, there's the fine soft skills of social influence are going to be on high demand. And just because our children on the spectrum, it does not mean they're going to be left behind. And empowering our children is what is our business. Okay, so till then, bye and God bless you.